of the first synchro pile decks on record, taking down a top 8, and don't worry, Infernoble's not far behind. You guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. I got sent the Pop.1 Podcast 1K Part 3. Man, I love that name. That is actually so fluent. For this breakdown, you're going to look at this pie chart and you're going to go, I know the meta was bad. Like, why are there 8 different decks? Remember, when you get down to these case tournament data, they still are going to be, more localized events at the end of the day. But that doesn't mean you're not going to get the chance to see, big, diverse movements actually happening out here. Now, like I said, Infernoble had a crazy showing out of this event. Actually ended up winning the event. I don't know if people just weren't really prepared for, the full combo or, what this deck could do. But when you get the chance to look at the list here, you'll see what I mean by Infernoble actually crazy. We also had Kashtira. Yay! The standard menace in the room. I don't have anything else to say about that. We also have Purely kind of bringing up the rear here as well. I mean, once you kind of get the feel for the ratios of the deck feels fine. It is by far, I think, one of the better decks in the room. We also had Sword Soul. Old Reliable actually doing its thing here as well. I think it's actually pretty good here just to kind of, see what the meta can cook up with this here. And yes, I lied. There are 2 Purely decks in Top Cut. Just kidding. Yeah, Purely was your most dominant force out of the Top Cut for this event, which I think is fine. Once again, we also had 1 Dragon Link. Dragon Link has been it's needed a little bit of time to figure things out, but I think it's got it down. We also had Vanquish Soul. Now, what's interesting to me about this is Vanquish Soul was just quiet for so long, and there's going to be a couple tournaments we're going to be looking at here out of this weekend that you're just going to kind of see Vanquish Soul just showing back up, and people are going to be like, who are you? I forgot you existed. And of course, we have Synchron bringing up the back end of the top 8 here, and I actually think it's awesome to see that Synchro Pile got the chance to perform up to our expectations. Let's pass on over to the top deck list. All right, so starting things off here, we have our Infernoble Pile, sporting off Revolution Synchron. I know a few people are like, I don't know, Robbie, I don't know if I want to invest in, Revolution Synchron for this deck. What are you doing? This card's amazing. It makes making the Power Tool Dragon, free. And then, you know how many equips you play in this pile? You want to be able to make Renault. Renault is the centerpiece of this deck. Now, I do like how this is structured up. This is one of the cooler pile decks that I think I've had the chance to see as of late, and it's definitely a good showcasing here of what the meta can actually do. And we're actually citing the Horn of Oliphant here. I have not seen a single build up to this point actually playing Horn as a side deck choice. So I actually think that this is pretty cool that we're getting some love here. Holy Board Breakers too. This deck, I'm not gonna lie, this deck seems like it would have issues going second, and it looks like they found a way to compensate that between 6 books and 3 Dark Ruler no more. So absolutely splendid. I like what I'm seeing here. Next up here, we have our Kashtira deck. Kashtira coming in second place. I don't think is anything really too much to cry at. The deck is still fine. I mean, tech choices here, we have the books, 1 Econ, and the double Lance to make sure that you can play the game. Because all is said and done, at the end of the day, you're still, if you can't actually do Kashtira things, you're going to lose. Is that a good cop-out answer? If cash money dollar bills can't cash money dollar bills, well, the deck's just going to have an issue. Also, shout out to the Infinitrack Mountain Smasher down here as a Tua. You know how many people have looked at this card and said, nope, I'm not going to play this trash. All right, it's bad. Two of them things. So that's kind of something to consider out here at the end of the day, that you are getting some massive value out of that. Also like the fact we're playing Trap Trick here for the Dimensional Barriers and the Eradicators. Yeah, I love 3 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. It's my favorite blowout card, especially when it's used against me. Nothing else too crazy to say about this. I also like the sided crossouts down here. Okay. What else we got? Hey, it's our first Purely deck. Hand Trap Semi-War on Triple Ash with Triple Droll and the 2 Moonlit Chills, which is fine. We also have the Imperms. This build is extending out the Purely Leaps. Remember, the OCG loves Triple Leap. You do, I don't know, the TCG, I understand our fascination to not want to max this out, but to be honest, I think it's fine at the end of the day. And yeah, you're just taking in the 1 Nor. See, we're also putting the Anima and the Azalea in here as well for immediate answers for things that the opponent can put on the field. And then we are playing the Thrust down here in the side for the Dimensional Barrier. Can't tell you how many times I've actually seen this get the chance to resolve. You know how many people just get blown out by the Thrust into the Dimensional Barrier, and you're like, oh, I can't actually do anything. Yeah, free searches like this are amazing blowout cards. Obviously, you have other targets in here to be able to destroy the opponent, but most part, you're going to get the chance to get the job done relatively quickly. So that's our first purely. Hey, Sword Soul. We're playing the Ringleworm here. Now, the Ringleworm to a lot of people is kind of hit or miss. I understand where people come from when they look at this card, but in all intents and purposes, it does bring a pretty good extra combo line to this. And this is also, I think, actually, I think this might be the first build that I've seen, minus, the crazy 60 card variants. At least for the smaller 40 card variants, actually playing the Danglong for the 9 pillars. That's actually kind of cool. We are, of course, playing Gravity Collapse. I mean, call it what it is at this point in time. Being able to floodgate your opponent out with something like Gravity Collapse, it's pretty solid. And then, of course, Ravelry here. Everybody worm. No, you don't care. Everybody worm. It's a worm party. Make sure your opponent can actually, play the game. Let's shout out the Stardust Charge Warrior here, actually getting us that free net draw to laugh at the opponent. Also being a value card, it's pretty good. What else we got back here? Hi, it's our other Purely deck. 6 books. We went from we're not going to play book to playing book to cutting book again to being back to playing book at this point in time. I swear this format has zero idea what it wants to do some days, but considering the fact that we have as many huge boards as we do in the current format, you do need to have some sort of method in order to kind of break and clear them up. So I do think that this is actually probably going to be your best methods to do so. Double field spell is good. Standard imperm. Only one of the leap. I mean, once again, you're either playing 1 or 2. 3 feels very clunky. And then, hi, we're on double dimensional barrier down here. We weren't feeling cool enough to do the thrust into the dimensional barrier. Only real Yu-Gi-Oh! Elites know how to thrust into the barrier. Outside of that, I don't see anything else too crazy about this. I mean, less hand traps in the main, but that's fine. Next up here, hey, it's our Dragon Link variant. Hello, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. I see that, of course, we are on maximized Lubellion package here. We are playing the Atum. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of Atum as of late. It is a free monster to be able to beam out of the deck. You can kind of do whatever you want in terms of setup, and your opponent's kind of not going to do anything about it. Of course, Double Eradicator, which has become pretty much a standard at this point in time. Bysteel package, I think Wondrous Worm is fine. I think I've seen some builds that have been pushing 2. You're not trying to go too crazy in the department of this. Trust me when I say this. The more and more Bysteels you can hit, the less, value you'll get in some matchups. But outside of that, I mean, like I said, I think the Atum has become a little bit more of a tech choice as of late. No Chaos Emperor Armageddon Pendulum in here either. Outside of that, 44 cards I think is fine for the times. Next up here, we have our Vanquish Soul variant. We are citing the TC boost down here, which is fine. So we're basically playing a more standard combo variant here, kind of get things going. We are playing the 2 Fenrir into the 1 Rise Heart. Interesting choice, because most of these variants have really loved 3 Fenrir, but I understand maybe you're not getting the value that you need to off of it, or maybe you're kind of struggling with some issues. And of course, the small world itself. Being able to bridge the gap into anything in your pile of cards is actually pretty good. Like I said, side deck, I mean, you got triple Eradicator, triple Evenly, triple TC Boo for your traps. Everything's going to be good. Of course, you're playing the Zoo package to, make the format Zeus for the board break. There is nothing else too crazy about this. It's a lot of the same standard stuff that we've seen Vanquish will kind of be presented with over time. It's going to be the same... yeah, it's a lot of the same stuff. Shout out to the Feather Duster in the main deck. A rogue deck like this definitely needs it. And then we have the Synchro Pile. Hey, it's Reborn Tengu. Yes. I was wondering when we would see somebody bring the Tengu Meister back to the table here and actually have this be relevant. Now, the side deck here is citing the Black Rose, the Trident, the Enlightened Paladin, the Majestic Star, and the Scarlight. So, whichever of these utility synchros that you actually need. I'm actually, bamboozled right now that Majestic Star actually saw meta play. let's take a moment to appreciate how crazy that is. But for a 60 card pile, this is absolutely gorgeous. There's so many different lines of play that you can do with this deck. I couldn't even begin to tell you where to start. Synchro combo piles are beyond anything that my little brain can comprehend. Just know this little guy right here doesn't miss timing, and it's a good Yu-Gi-Oh card. So, what do you think about the breakdown for this event? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.